Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into the wild and wacky world of the English language. Ever wondered why English seems to be allergic to logic? Why do we have so many rules and then even more exceptions to those rules? You're not alone. So buckle up because today we're exploring 5 crazy language rules that make English, well, English. Get ready to have your mind blown, and maybe, just maybe, you'll learn to appreciate the absurdity of it all. Stay tuned. Alright, let's kick things off with a real head-scratcher, the Great Vowel Shift. This wasn't some overnight change. It was a slow, gradual shift in how vowels were pronounced, starting in the 14th century and lasting for centuries. Words that were spelled one way started to totally different. It's like if you wrote down a recipe for your great-great-great-grandkids, but by the time they were old enough to cook, flour was pronounced floor. This vowel shift is one of the main reasons why English spelling can seem so detached from how we actually say words. No one's entirely sure this great vowel shift happened. Some theories point to migration, dialects mixing, maybe even a need to distinguish English from French after the Norman conquest. So, next time you see a word that just doesn't look the way it sounds, take a deep breath and blame it on the great vowel shift. Let's talk about those pesky silent letters that love to lurk in English words like ninjas of the alphabet. You know what I'm talking about? The K in night, the G in gnome, the H in honor. They're there, but they're not. These silent letters are like little echoes of the past, remnants of how English used to be pronounced. For example, that K in night, it wasn't always silent. Over time, the pronunciation shifted, leaving the K stranded, a silent relic of its former glory. Different languages held on to those sounds, so while we English speakers look at night and just shrug, German speakers see connect and pronounce that K with gusto. These silent letters are a testament to the fact that language is a living, breathing thing, constantly evolving and adapting. So next time you encounter a silent letter, think of it as a little window into the past, a reminder that language is a journey through time. Okay, let's talk about homophones, those words that sound exactly alike but have completely different meanings and spellings. They all sound the same, but mix them up in a sentence and you'll have grammar enthusiasts everywhere breaking into a cold sweat. And don't even get me started on to, those little prepositions can trip up even the most seasoned writer. English has this habit of borrowing words from other languages, and sometimes those words just happen to sound similar. Homophones are the bane of spell check's existence, and they're a constant reminder that context is key in understanding language. But hey, at least they give us a good chuckle when someone accidentally writes "I see what you did there" instead of "I see what you did there." Let's be honest, verbs can be a real pain in English, especially those rebellious rule breakers, irregular verbs. These are the verbs that decided to throw the rulebook out the window and do their own thing, refusing to conform to the usual ed ending for past tense. Think about it, we say walked, talked, jumped, all nice and predictable, but then we have go, which becomes went, eat, which turns into ate, and think, which morphs into thought. Irregular verbs often come from older forms of English, and they've just stubbornly held on to their irregular forms over centuries. They're like the elders of the language, refusing to conform to the whims of modern grammar. Sure, they can be confusing, but they also add a certain charm and quirkiness to English. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the kernel in the room. English is notorious for its discrepancies between spelling and pronunciation, words that look like they should be pronounced one way but sound completely different. I mean, who decided that kernel should be pronounced like kernel? And don't even get me started on bologna, Worcestershire, or Wednesday. English has borrowed words from so many different sources, each with their own pronunciation rules, that it's created this mishmash of spellings and sounds. Then there are those silent letters we talked about, adding another layer of complexity to the equation. It's enough to make you want to tear your hair out. But you know what? It's also part of what makes English so unique and interesting. It keeps us on our toes, and it certainly makes for some entertaining conversations. And there you have it. 5 crazy language rules that prove English is anything but ordinary. We've got vowels shifting, letters going silent, words sounding the same but spelled differently, verbs breaking all the rules, and spellings that seem to have been decided by a roll of the dice. Despite all its quirks, inconsistencies, and downright bizarre rules, English is a beautiful, expressive, and endlessly fascinating language. So, next time you stumble over a tricky spelling or encounter a verb that just doesn't make sense, don't despair. Embrace the chaos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.